My name is Ahmad Whitaker. I am a senior at Howard University, and I major in computer information systems with a focus in cybersecurity. And I'm also the second president, after the founder, of Howard University's Esports Association and the Rocket League captain. Great question. I'll list them out for you. We play Apex, we play Smash, we play Call of Duty, we play 2K, Madden, FIFA, of course Rocket League. We have a general fighting game team because fighting teams and fighting tournaments usually don't happen as much at maybe a collegiate level. That's why we're here. And we also have, I don't know if I said Smash yet, and there's a few more in there that I may be forgetting. I know my students will be so mad at me if I forget their team. We have a lot of teams, including CSGO, including R6, and including Valorant, our favorite team. And we have a league team, and we have a TFT team. There's some more that I'm missing, but we have a lot of teams there. Actually, as of this morning, we have 435 students. I actually only brought out 4 students to this event. So some names, Santiago Montgomery, great guy, Valorant player. He actually played in the Tekken tournament. And then Malik Stewart, actually one of my students for Rocket League. So some other students couldn't go because they decided to focus on school. And so, honestly, I credit it to working on the internal things, right? People need people, and people need connections and friends in the community. And so once I got the presidency, once I was appointed as president from vice president in January 2023, I made a point to introduce myself to everyone who walked inside of our esports lab. I am friends with everyone. If you come in the lab, I know you. If you come in Discord, I talk to you. Make people feel like it's a home and like everyone's friends. And so they feel like, okay, like if I don't actually want to go out to the party tonight, or if I don't want to go out to maybe the Darty or the party in the yard or anything social, maybe they just want a game, they can go to the esports lab, they can talk to me, they can talk to the slew of people that are in the esports lab. And so I think we grew a lot because of just everyone kind of seeing what I'm doing as a president, it's an example, and then kind of following suit, creating those connections with each other, being friends, creating memories. It's really beautiful, but focusing on the internal parts is what made our esports org grow the most. How did I get into collegiate esports? I honestly was really scared of getting into collegiate esports. I had a lot of imposter syndrome because I was playing Rocket League at the time. This was about 2022, early 2022, I believe. And no, this was spring 2021. And I remember my mom and some other people that I know telling me, hey, you should see if there's esports at Howard. And I said, I want to focus on school. I got a 4.0 at the time. And I really want to focus on school. I'm doing good in school. I didn't do good in high school, so getting to Howard was already special. And so then I made a Discord. I used school on Discord to make a Rocket League Discord. And they reached out to me after I made it, someone from the Howard Esports Discord, and said, hey, we're making a team. Would you like to be on the team? I said, sure, I'll be on the team. We had our own general chat, and they said, hey, who wants to be the captain? No one said anything, so I said, hey, okay, I'll be the captain. That went well, and the founder and president, Deontay Taylor, he said, I need some help with things. Can you help me? And I said, yeah, of course. And then he said, I think you're really awesome. Sign this form and put your name on vice president. I said, okay, do it. And then he said, a couple of weeks later, he said, you know what? I think you're going to make a good president. So I want to appoint you when I leave and graduate. And I said, yeah, sure. And so then I was president January of 2023, and I've been president ever since. And now our org has grown from about 250 people to that 400. And I'm gonna be the first advisor specifically for esports for our org after I graduate in May, which will be really special. So that's how I got into collegiate esports. There's definitely some more story there. Maybe like when I was a kid, of course I grew up playing video games, and my dad and my mom are huge gamers. My mom more than my dad, but she didn't tell me until like recently. I didn't know she was better than my dad. I thought my dad was the gamer. My mom is special. And so my dad loving games was special for me. And then he passed away in 2010. And so after he passed away, he was a good dad. And so he went to Howard, so I went to Howard. My brother goes to Howard. He's a PhD student now at Howard. My mom is a PhD student at Howard too. And so we just do things for him. He was an awesome guy. And I game for him too. I play these games for him. I take these people up here for him because I know that my dad looking down at me and kind of helping me do these things, you know, people need that too. People need people to sit beside them and help them do things. So that's what I like to do. Yes, I do see a lot of transferable skills from esports. I think esports management as well needs to be talked about more. I think esports management is the part of esports that people don't talk about the most, but it's what really takes you far. Me in this tournament, I joined this tournament not playing Guilty Gear or Tekken at all. I had never touched the games. I've only seen them be played. I'm not a fighting game guy. And I decided, let me just join, let me try. I ended up winning both the qualifiers, but giving my Tekken spot to Santiago because I knew he'd do an amazing job and I wanted him to be here. And then I played Guilty Gear and I took it because I was imposter syndrome for Tekken. I didn't know how I was gonna be that good. And so taking him up here and letting him see kind of the background of it, right? That sports management part or esports management, he sees how the broadcasters work, right? He sees how even the shoutcasters and how they do their things, the managers, right? Like those people are the people behind the scenes and they also play games too. Even the server that we had, he was actually really good at TFT, which me and Santi actually play a lot. And so he was telling us like while taking our order, like what to do and how to go here. And there's so many just beautiful things. And even with me playing, the only reason why I was able to pick up those games was because of how much management that I've done. At Howard Esports, I have to watch over all of the games. I can't be the president and not know how to play each game. And so that's how I came to the tournament. And I know I got swept by DG Phantom. He's the bro, he's my best bro for real, and his cousin is too. And I knew what he'd do to me, former #1 in North Carolina, man. I knew what he'd do to me. But, you know, it was just one of those things where I picked it up and I got through the qualifier because watching over people and learning each game and being behind the scenes, you also learn. And even with my internship at Riot Games, which we talked about, those skills really do transfer to the workforce. I'm actually going to be working at Geico in June when I graduate, and I'm in cybersecurity, as we talked about. And so the stuff that I learned from talking to people, the soft skills that I gained from being the president of the org and the vice president, and even just sitting back and watching people play and really understanding how they think about the game, it kind of helps you understand how to play each thing and how to play conversations in real life. The only way I'm able to talk clearly to you is because I've had to talk clearly to so many people with so many different questions and personalities and disabilities and abilities, and you really have to be a trick of all trades. But the companies see that. And so it's not just esports that will hire you for it, it's anyone. You can be anything. So that's my answer to that question. That was my sophomore summer. And I had worked at this company named MITRE. It's a nonprofit cybersecurity firm. I worked at it my freshman summer, and they said, hey, we're gonna bring back you guys next summer. And then the layoff season hit and they couldn't hire us back. I applied for maybe 40 internships and none of them hit. None of them hit except for like maybe 2 or 3, so some of them hit. And then I saw this Google form in this esports Discord called Community with an X instead of an O in the first O. They do HBCU esports, and just like the Yard, actually. And so I just went, I saw this little form, I said, let me click this form, let me click this form. The form had typos, it didn't look great, but I said, let me just put in my name, maybe this will be a great experience. I had never played a Riot game before I went to that company, and I got that internship. I was online, but they took us to the headquarters for a week out of that, and it was beautiful. I mean, I planned LCS for that year with a team of other students, HBCU students, and it was amazing. I mean, oh my gosh, that was the best experience I've had anywhere. I mean, just like the company is beautiful, and seeing how people can kind of relate to each other, and even seeing how the company hires people who have the same morals. You know, they kind of go about things the same way. You can walk around the campus over there, or even get on a Zoom, and you're friends with everyone immediately. I mean, it was a great place to be. And that internship, it lives in my heart. I mean, I literally cried when it stopped. I actually cried. I remember crying for like not weeks. Okay. I miss my manager, Steve Stagliano. I miss him every day. What a great guy. And hopefully I get back to that company one day. I'm being patient with myself. I want to build on my major. I want to go into cybersecurity and get some stuff under my belt. But I'm still going to be an advisor at Howard Esports, and I'm still going to keep those connections at Riot just in case. But I just want to make sure I build my portfolio so I can lift as I climb, and I can refer my friends to Geico, and I can go to stuff like this, and I can see high school students say, oh, this is how I got through Howard. This is how I got into Howard. And this is how I worked at Geico. Do you want a referral? So stuff like that. I want to make sure that I can I want people to get to where I am, basically. And so it's going to take some time to do that. After my dad passed away, I just hit all the wrong stuff. You know, I got into all types of madness, and there's a psychology behind it when you lose someone close to you and stuff, but I just started just nabbing things. I just started, I just picked that up, put it in my pocket. I just started stealing. And I wasn't stealing from like stores or stuff, or I was just picking up stuff from like my mom and some of my friends, and I was just getting into all the wrong places. At a certain age, I kind of realized that, you know, this is too much. Like the young people call it crashing out. I'm crashing out. Like, what am I doing? And so I kind of realized, okay, like this is obviously stupid. I gained sentience as a child, and I stopped. But you don't really lose, when you do stuff like that, when you are very sneaky, you don't really lose like the IQ that it takes to kind of sneak around and take things and do things. So I just took it, and I took it into another part of my life. My mom's an electrical engineer, PhD student. She is a very successful woman. She's awesome. And my dad was a historian who went to NCCU and economics major and went to Howard. And so I take after my mom. I wanted to be a computer engineer, but I didn't have the math base because my high school teachers, they weren't great. My first teacher, she was out for the whole year. Then my second teacher, I was behind by then. And so I said, I can't do computer engineering. I couldn't do computer science because my coding teachers weren't that great. But then my mom said, hey, computer information systems, like this seems to be right up your alley, ethical hacking. You know, you have your criminal tendencies, criminal past. And so I think that this would be a great way for you to take that and channel it into something good and just be able to use it to your advantage. And so I said, yeah. I say yeah a lot, don't I? But I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I majored in it. I got into cybersecurity, and wow, yeah, it was perfect. It was a perfect fit. I left all that stuff in the past, obviously, when I was very, very young, but just channeling it into something good, something productive, because it really does help. There are a lot of problems in the space where people don't kind of understand the mindset or the psyche that a cyber criminal will go through. But I guess I do have the perspective. I don't really compliment myself a lot, which I should do more. But I'll just reiterate some of the things I've heard from my friends and family. But I guess I do have the ability to kind of see where that person's coming from or see how they may do it. And that's kind of how I got into it. I mean, it's a very interesting story. I know my mom will see this and be like, why are you telling people that? You're gonna mess up your, your reputation. But I think there are a lot of people who may be able to relate to it. It's not over. Your life isn't over, and you can always take something and channel it into something good. The advice that I give to young students everywhere, and I'll start with the lore behind it, of course. So like I've talked about, when my dad did pass away, my mom made sure to get us in a lot of extracurriculars. I was never at home. I was a tri-sport athlete. I played tennis, I played swimming, and I played golf. And swimming and tennis, I played competitively. And I played those a lot. I would practice, from the end of school till 8 o'clock, and I get home and try to do homework. And then I go on Saturdays, I go to some extracurricular STEM thing, but that stuff builds your resume. I would really tell young students to get out there, get some stuff, build that resume immediately. If your church is saying, hey, we need an AV person, sign up for it. Be the AV person, because when you put that on your resume, someone's gonna say, I like that he volunteered. I like that he did this, and I want him to work at the company. And a lot of companies look at your experience, but they really want someone who is generous. They want someone who is whole. They want a person. And so even if the volunteering has nothing to do with what you want to do in your major, if that's a volunteer experience, they're gonna meet you through your resume. And so it's important to go to the library and volunteer, and maybe go to that STEM camp for young students at the local college and get that under your belt. Because when you apply for college and you apply for a job, those things you did way back way back in the day, I like to say, even though I'm like 21, they will matter, and people meet you through your resume for sure. So just make sure to get those things under your belt and make sure to get some experience just in volunteering and giving to people. Because as we know, the world is a very hard place and everyone needs a helping hand. So if you're not helping someone up, then you're being a part of putting people down. So make sure to just be nice to everyone you meet and try to always, be the bigger person, or just put yourself in the space where you don't have to be the bigger person. So that's my advice. Well, I'd say to them, it's not that different from real sports. It's not that different from real sports. The only difference is that it's way more mentally draining than real sports. I mean, when you think about fighting games in general, if you watch someone go into training and try to hit a combo, and you see how many times they fail until they succeed, and you actually realize their hands are cramping, right? And they have a headache because they haven't eaten in hours because they need to hit it. Because maybe they need to bring the money home, or maybe their little brother or little sister looks up to them and they want to show them that, oh, they can do this stuff, or maybe they can just play a game well. It's the same as tennis. Playing tennis for my whole life, just like Santiago, he'll come up here and talk about it too. But it's not that different. And of course, it's important to support students and support your children, because it's way better to tell a child, I support your dream and I want you to also do this dream, than saying, I don't support your dream at all. Because then that student, just like me, thank you, Mom. My mom said, hey, I know you love video games, and I think you should be passionate about video games, but I also think you should major in cybersecurity. And so then that teaches you, my parents support me, and it teaches you the ability to figure out, what do you want to do? Because if you're successful in gaming and maybe you're not so successful in your major, then you can go with gaming. But the support, parents, now I'm talking to the parents now, the support you give your children, that ripple effect, it's forever. I mean, once you don't support your child, they're going to remember that. They're young, they're growing. And so I tell them just to support them, but guide them in the right direction. They don't need any sharp turns. Just give them a little curve. They're still learning, but just support them, give them a little nudge, you know what I'm saying, but just make sure to give them love. People need love. Now, I do think that schools should build out esports programs. I do think it's important to kind of take what students like to do and kind of build it in a way that's important. Even taking students from being at home, some children don't have the best home scenarios, or they may not have the best home life or have the best support. But sometimes taking those students from those environments and bringing them to school to play is the best way to do it. Because now you have a say in what this child does with their life. Because even from a coach perspective, from a student perspective, there are multiple students at Howard University that I've told to drop certain classes, or maybe you shouldn't minor in that, and maybe you should actually change your major to this, and actually I am going to refer you, and actually I am going to get you a job, because I'm taking them from their dorm and putting them in the lab right beside me. So now I have a say in their life. I have a positive foot in their life door, And so I do think it's important to build those esports organizations. But I also think it's important to make sure that the school is doing a good job of hiring professionals that are able to coach and be there for these children, I think it's really, really sensitive, because you don't want students to do too much gaming. You don't want them to have bad coaches, but you also want to support them, and you also, want them to study. So it's a very sensitive topic, but I think they just need to cover all the bases. Me personally, I'm on LinkedIn, Ahmad Whitaker. I don't usually do a lot of social media. My social media is very private. If you're looking at this, kids, make sure your social media is private. Don't do anything stupid, don't do anything crazy, because digital footprint does exist. Also, delete TikTok. It wastes a lot of time. So make sure that you, use LinkedIn for me. Connect with me. I'll connect back. And Howard Esports on Instagram if you want to connect with us. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible.